Hi, I'm Billy, and I just wanted to share my love and admiration for these guys over here. Rob Scott and Bob Doyle are off in the wings, getting ready to come on. I've been watching this lounge show since day one. It is freaking awesome, and you absolutely need to check it out starting tonight.
It's The Lounge Show with Rob Scott and Bob Doyle, two veteran broadcasters who love to hear themselves talk and are somehow able to tolerate each other. Let's see if you can tolerate them as well. Here's Rob and Bob.
Oh, shites. The playlist
What?
took it off the list. I wanted it to start with this because at the beginning when I set this up there was still a little bit of light, but now there's not. So
Oh yeah, but see that little what would we call that, pergola? A
yeah.
little. I watched someone get married there today.
Did you really?
I did. I even took a snapshot of it, and I was going to use it on next week's show because I don't have the technical ability to do anything this week.
That's right. Well, we should start by saying
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
which means that this is the Lounge Show with Bob Doyle and
And Rob Scott, that's me, and it's 9 here, so it's 6 by you.
at 6
o'clock.
p.m. And so this is when we do it.
Yeah.
Every Saturday night live, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. It's not.
So it really
memorized.
is Saturday Night Live. I've never thought of this. I've never had that. It's never.
I never
occurred
did
to
till
me.
you just said that because it isn't. It's the lounge show, but
But
yeah.
it is on
And
Saturday
I-
night, and it is live. So it's on Saturday
It
Night
is.
Live. So we can say
Right.
live from Las Vegas and Atlanta. It's on Saturday night. Because they don't say it's Saturday Night Live. They say live from New York is Saturday night.
It's Saturday night. That's right. Don Pardo, who I got to meet. I got to meet Don Pardo in New York covering the Grammys.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway, the reason that
what year
go,
was this?
go.
And then we'll talk about why you're.
That would have been in the 80s for sure. So let's say a latter portion of the 80s, 87, 88, somewhere in there, 89.
Okay, I remember that. That was when I was starting my life.
I was living in
No,
Milwaukee.
no.
What?
Hold on.
The cat? Oh, the cat. Well, now it's my turn. So last week, for those of you keeping score, last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, I lost all connection. And so
Oh,
Bob
boy.
had to just fill in. He filled in for I don't know. Here he's back obviously now, but he filled in for 6 minutes. And then last week we had a show. And then this week I got up this morning and my entire sound mixing board in my where I normally am for the lounge show, crapped the bed on me. So I'm just scrambling along here this evening with a laptop in the kitchen.
But we've had technical issues before, and we've never let them stop us. We found, well, maybe not never. I think there were a couple of times.
There are a couple, and sometimes where we were out of town or whatever. But for the most part, we try to make.
Oh, yeah, the out of town, we definitely have missed it. But it's like when we have a technical snafu like this, one of our computers doesn't work, we figure, we find a way, kind of like life. All right, and
Sure.
speaking of life, let's see some signs of it out there in the audience. Don't be shy, say hello. There you go. Boy, that was perfect timing. And Jason, we had all the pesky tech issues. So I don't know what you're talking about, but wait, we all
Yeah.
had pesky tech issues. There we go. I read that wrong.
When you went to do the cat, I'm assuming you had to go do something with the cat. I was
Yes.
filling the folks in, telling them 2 weeks ago you filled for the last 5, 6, 7 minutes because I just lost all. And then the audio thing, the snafu this morning, and maybe that's what Hi, hello, boys. Well, hello, Amy.
That's Amy.
I can read that because I don't have even my second monitor. I'm naked. I'm a naked loungeite.
And by the way, I mentioned that does it look like to you that he has that he's invisible? Like he's got this
No,
shroud, this torn shroud, and you can't, he's invisible.
See, here's what it says. As if I could get it in the shot.
UFO Airlines.
Yes, and I wore this because it reminds me of your oldest daughter. She was real little, and I was visiting the Stone Mountain house. It was probably a Saturday, and we were going to grill and do everything we did for 1,000 different times. And I was wearing this shirt. Now, at the time, the shirt had much more molecular
Yes, it
structure
wasn't
to
quite.
it.
Yes, I got you.
In fact, that's why I'm wearing another shirt underneath. So anyway, but while I was visiting during the course of that weekend, you and I doing our usual shenanigans, Catherine studied this and then sketched it perfectly, like on a piece of paper. The whole logo, the whole thing. She just was fascinated by UFO Airlines.
I don't remember that.
drew it. See, this one is mine then. It's my own. And so I thought this tonight when I was getting ready, I go, I'm going to wear this and it'll give me something. And sure enough, look, you don't even remember that story. So I'm glad I wore this shirt.
Well,
and it's, by the way, this is like one of the last times I'll ever wear this shirt. I think there's not much to it anymore.
Well, it's odd that you should bring up Catherine because that's where Tracy is right now.
I know Tracy traveled east.
Excuse me? What the hell do you know that I don't know? There was not that much in her suitcase. It was under 40 pounds.
It's always that way, though. They do that.
She
with the
did not
suitcase
leave me
bag.
with a cat and dog. Gino's
No, she'll probably send for them later.
Send for them? Oh, what a cowardly move.
So, yes, she is. I know that she's now in this zone of the world. She's down the road a piece, right?
A piece, yes.
Tracy,
So,
I mean.
So, yeah.
And
so
she's
now,
visiting Catherine. Go ahead. You just asked everyone if I look like the Venus de Milo or
if
something.
he was invisible, did he look invisible? And no one answered, so I moved on. Yeah, so the cat walked on the keyboard. That's one of the other keyboards, and started bring, 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 and could have cut us off and a bazillion other things. So that's why I said, no, got to turn off the keyboard and so on. Yes.
So here's what I'm going to do about the board. Bob said to me this morning, because I've got this audio mixing board and possibly an engineer at work will be able to fix it. But I'm thinking I buy a new one and bring him this one and say, can you fix it? And if he can, I've got a backup, or maybe I even sell it. And if he cannot, then I was ahead of the game by ordering the new one as fast as possible.
Right. And a few days out of the game and whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry. That happens to me. It's happened to all of us.
Well, and I do look like there's nothing behind. It looks dark. It looks like just
yes,
like
because
a shadow.
the camera is compensating, but he's actually in his kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. His kitchen.
And I also have the laptop on the lazy Susan. So I thought in case I wanted to pan, you can see the window, and you can, I can just pan around. I thought that was kind of a neat thing, considering I couldn't spin to start the show. I had the camera spin instead of me spinning my chair. So
Got
when you go
it.
back and look at
See, I will have to go back and look at the tape because I was too busy watching the buttons that I was pushing, and there's no tape.
When you go back and look at the tape, you're going to see that the camera spun, and then people will remember this for the Lounge Around the House trivia game that is coming out after just the Lounge Around the House game.
And then we can take pieces.
This will be one of the questions.
Then we can take pieces of the tape and include it, like for the first 1,000 people who get it. We cut the tape that we were referring to, that we're looking at. Right.
That Columbo's going to send down to the lab.
The lab.
So anyway, I spun that. I just thought this is the least I could do for a little creativity, considering all I have to work with today is a laptop.
Well, that's...
Hey, someone's calling. Your bill is ready. Your Verizon
hello, Instagram. What? I've got new followers. So honestly, what's weird is, no, it's not weird.
Yeah.
So, I post on Instagram and TikTok and those things, and I get modest views, but every now and then something hits, and like, whereas normally I get 235 views or whatever in a couple of days, it's like 1,300. And I'm getting all 96 likes on something. And the thing is that it's all the same weird crap I always do.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like a hashtag I'm using or something. Something magical happens every now and again, and something hits.
Does that make you feel good?
Well, only to the extent that I put it all out there because I create it because I just have to. I'm very used to not a lot of views on things and all that. I've learned to deal with that. Would it be nice if something took off? Yeah, only because I do all that stuff, hoping that something will land with some sort of character work or a voiceover or something or other. So it's kind of like a big online live audition. So if it gets
that's what my friend Dave Savage says, because he used to do some stand-up. He was kind of an amateur stand-up comic. And he said the great place to test your material is Facebook or social media.
Probably.
Do people respond to it? Do they not? Am I going to work on writing that? I mean, you're kind of saying the same thing. See what's out there. See where the nibbles are.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I put up anything regardless. I mean, obviously, it's all over the place. Whatever technology is interesting me at the moment, But I am trying to, like, I just recently renamed my Instagram channel from Bob Doyle Show to Bob Doyle Media because I'm doing way more stuff with the face. It's media. It's not like clips from the Bob Doyle Show, which isn't happening, right? So why would it's not the Bob Doyle Show at all? And it never, like, it never has been. It's just media that I create. So that's what it is.
An imposter. It really was never a show, was it?
What's interesting, also, another way that I'm getting out there is there's voice, and I'm sure he's not the only one who does it, but there is a voiceover guy out there, and what he does is something called a voiceover challenge, because there's something called Duets in TikTok where you can interact, like somebody will do a video and then you can interact with it, and that becomes its own video, a duet.
Okay. I think I've seen those.
Okay, so he's like, voiceover challenge. He'll start it every time. He'll say, think you can be a voice actor? I've written a script about whatever. I'm the good guy, you're the villain. The script will run across. Here we go. So he does his part, and then you respond with the script going across. Right. So I did a few of those, especially the villain ones.
Do you do that in real time? Is that in real time, or do you get a chance to put it in this?
It's all recorded because lots of people can do it. So, it just shows up, and then you basically you say you want to do a duet with this video. And when you hit record, you want to put on headphones, but when you hit record, it will be playing and playing back at the same time, just like a multi-track recorder, recording whatever you do on top of it, and then that produces the second video.
Got it. So no, that was a good way to describe it, the multi-track recorder. I know it's
the first or second video I ever did on TikTok was a duet with some gal. I didn't know. I just thought it was I just wanted to play with it. It was a dialogue, and I think we've talked about this. I think I played it.
I think you played it
on the show. The dialogue
out
of Modern Family.
Right. And I think you actually did it during one of the lounge shows.
Yeah, I remember.
You played it back for us.
Yeah. But that got a lot of views too, because that duet stuff really works. If you ponytail with ponytail,
dovetail.
No, piggyback on top of somebody else's whatever, and then you respond.
I like the ponytail.
But
ponytail's good.
That's really, you just want to ponytail on someone else's efforts.
Sure. So and you got a lot of response when you did the duet. It's kind of like if Hank Williams were to do some sort of mashup with Van Halen. It'd be the same thing. That's like a duet.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying it helps people like us who have basically nobody really knows who we are, get visibility because, people do watch what they're involved with, and you happen to be a part of it. And then they say,
I only brought that up because I thought you'd pick up on the fact that you sent me about a month ago a Hank Williams Van Halen mashup.
Oh, right. That's right. I did see that on.
You sent that to me.
The
and you
jump.
also sent
Yeah.
Yes, it was good. And then you also sent me about 2 weeks ago these guys on a bicycle, like a 5-seater, and they're a band, and they're just like going around some park or something, and that was cool.
Yeah, I think the guy on the back had the bass. What an awkward place to be. To be that one. You're just looking at everybody. And you can't connect with the band visually or anything. Everybody else can kind of see what the others are doing. You're just out there.
But he's just and he's pulling up the rear, and he's looking in the opposite direction of all the other guys. He got the short end of the stick there. He was the ponytail. Is what he was.
Wow. It's almost as if we made a bet before the show. Let's use ponytail like 7 times.
How many times can we use ponytail?
Right, because it just shows up like quote unquote organically.
I've had that happen at work. We've done that at work with the traffic guys especially. We'll say, okay, work this phrase into your traffic report. I bet you $5 you can't work. And we do that a lot, and that's fun.
Yeah, that's
because it's traffic, then so they try to throw. They're going around the 285 curve. A couple of big semis got into a ponytail accident. Look, see, they're coming
activity.
Yes, security alert.
I lost my ring. I got married here earlier today, and I cannot.
Can you tell by the dress?
I've looked everywhere.
It was really nice. See, there's chairs there too. You can see them on the lawn. There's chairs on the close portion.
I wonder how many people who were like friends or family of theirs who couldn't make it, like were aware, like if they must have known that they were in front of a webcam.
I don't know, but okay.
Don't you think that's such a boom spot. You got to know you're on a camera.
To my knowledge, that hasn't been there that long. I'm guessing that camera is within 2 years.
Well, that's plenty of time to find out. To plan a wedding.
No, right. And also maybe the people who booked the place, right? The wedding planner people of the yacht club might even put that in the brochure. And your friends and family from all around the world can watch you get married.
There you go. There you go.
But I don't know. So your question is valid. I just don't have an answer for you.
Now, but why didn't they pick this crap up? It's what is it? It's 8:15. What time was this wedding?
5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. They were under the little tent there, and there
6
were people
o'clock
all in these
Eastern. So just a couple hours ago.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, there's some leeway there on that piece of furniture.
Was that your end or my end?
It was mine. This is the second time
I don't have any
today.
equipment. I'm happy I have a microphone
That's what
and a
she said.
camera working.
What?
Huh?
Nothing?
I read something this morning, Bob. It says, by replacing your morning coffee with green tea, you can lose up to 87% of what little joy you still have left in your life. I think that is a really good, it's funny.
Leave it to Rob to bring up the memes that are like 4 years old.
I knew you would do that, and I didn't know it was 4 years old, but I believe that.
Well,
I told that to
number.
someone at work the other day. She said something about a meme, and I said, "Do you notice I never quote memes to you guys?" And she said, "Yeah." And I told her, because anything I see, I'm sure you guys saw, like in second grade. You know, I'm
right.
I'm
the first memes
ever. And Rob, wait till you see what Rob does. He's going to quote another one of those, that T thing. And that's only been out since the Eisenhower administration.
The Eisenhower administration, the reference that ages you. I wonder.
I wasn't even born during the Eisenhower administration. What president was in office when you were born? Wow, Bob.
I was born in 65, but
yeah.
So that would have been
Johnson.
Right. Yeah, took over.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Had to.
Yeah, I did not become politically aware until like first grade, and then everything was about Nixon and Vietnam and Watergate, which I could not. When you're a kid and you hear the word Watergate, it paints a very specific picture of the two things that you know: a water and a gate.
Right.
And so it's years before you can wrap your head around, oh wait, that's not what this is. Until you watch.
And not only that, it wasn't even called the Nixon this or the Republican that or the administration that. It was named after the whole thing was named after a hotel. Watergate is a hotel. Which fascinating. I didn't know that until I was like 30. I thought it was like, okay, that's some, I don't know what I thought.
In second grade, unless this is a manufactured memory, but the first time I referenced this manufacturer that I have was like much later. Anyway, in second grade, it seems like they asked us, or would have been for, anyway, there was an election, and who would we vote for?
Okay.
No. Second grade?
Why
who would
not?
we vote for?
Well, look, they got to.
And this was what, 1972.
Okay.
We weren't kids. They know more. Oh, forget it, Rob. if you don't see that's a little bit weird, then I don't even think I can do the show anymore.
There's another one I read the other day that lines right up with this. It says, I'm pretty sure 40 years of civics classes taught by football coaches got us here, which I thought was a funny line too. I read that. And you're talking about teachers asking second graders in their civics class who they would vote for. That's 7 years old. At that level of life, I was all consumed with a push-up.
I promise you,
not physical.
Right, that was not a civics class. In second grade, you're not going to class. You have the class and some paste.
Right, to call it a class is even silly. You just go to a room all day. You just go in this room, and then you're let out a couple of times for the bathroom or run around the playground or go get a spork.
And they move you through these subjects.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I so don't miss anything about school. Like, I just did not ever like it.
Well, you're not a super duper outside social guy. You're a social guy. You're fun to be around, but you don't run out the door every morning going, wow, I want to interact with a million people. So not liking school doesn't shock me.
Well, it wasn't so, although that was, in retrospect, you're right. I mean, I was in the band and that was my clique, so that was my comfort zone, and I kept it all through high school. And everybody else, it was very rare that I had friendships or relationships outside the band. because I didn't, there was no sports in me. I wasn't going to do, any of the activities. I didn't want to do. I didn't. Somewhere along the line, I gave up enough to. I didn't care about honor society or any of that stuff. I mean, I was just like, just get me out of here. I want to do something else. I
Did
want
you
to be
have
on the
good
radio.
grades? Were you a good student?
I was okay. I was basically an A and B. I had some hiccups for sure in elementary school, like a science class, and just I had some hiccups. But if I applied myself halfway, I could do okay. But I remember that in 10th grade, this was my memory, a world history class where suddenly I found myself with a D, and I was like, oh man, now I have to try, And then I really was not engaged. I just
How
couldn't.
about college? Did you like college?
The social aspect, sure, because there was beer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all. That was
Makes
it.
everything better.
Right, because it certainly, yeah, it was academics, again, all stuff to get through. I had my telecommunications classes, which were kind of fun, except I was already working in radio with equipment that was way advanced than what we're working with in the school, to like these gigantic dials and stuff. Anyway.
I worked on one of those boards too in college. The pots were the size of like a coaster.
Yeah. Funny. And video editing, doing video editing and stuff like that, and the insert cuts. And I'm sure you did. Did you do some video?
Very little. I didn't enjoy it at all. I did not enjoy TV at all.
Also, you would have been, because you are considerably older than me. The equipment that I used wouldn't have been invented yet. I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, but it was already antiquated stuff, but that's what we had.
Professor Edison had, he showed us the light bulb, and it was all new now. It was all new. I just finished it last
night, yeah.
Right. Where the hell did all these moths come from?
It was good placement.
You know what? Speaking of sports, because you weren't into sports, it dawned on me today, and this is a quote from my son, and I think about it every year that fall rolls around, is college football is the soundtrack of a Saturday for most houses.
Most has got to be overstating it.
Well, I was putting that into to let you off the hook. Most houses on Saturday have a college football game going somewhere. When I was a little kid growing up, we always had a college football game on in the house. And I'd go over to my cousin Jimmy's and Grandma's house across the alley, and they had a college. And so, but no one was really watching. It was just on.
It's true. So my mom.
So I think most. I'll stay with most.
All right.
And it was on today, and I'm doing other crap. I'm moving around. I'm soaking a big bag of beans in the back here. I got to give them a 13-hour soak. I'm going to make this ham and bean soup tomorrow, all this stuff. And then just the game is on. It's just on because it's fall. It's fall, and it's Saturday, college football, And now I know that's not on at your abode, and that's why I put the qualifier in.
But again, the only reason, this is sad to say, but the only reason I cared at all about football was the beer. That's it. It was all about the tailgating. College was beer. Frat parties, which I did not join a fraternity, but my roommate friend from elementary school became the fraternity president. And
of what frat?
Teak. Chi Kappa Epsilon. Teak. And their house was right next door to the radio station that I worked at, like literally feet away. You walk right into the yard. So that was kind of cool. So I got to go to the parties, and I didn't have to do any of the stupid crap. Because when he was my roommate, as he was a pledge, and it's that 3 a.m. phone call, go get me a candy bar crap.
Yeah.
And he just does it. And I'm like, where's your pride? But then he became president of the fraternity, and that looks good. And he's an oncologist. So he's a very different person than me.
Well, the guy who I talk to you about him all the time, guy who works right across the cubicle from me. He was a big frat guy at Alabama, and he tells me all those pledge stories, and I go, "Well, that's just dumb." They get, like I had to get up at, like you say, 3:00, and the guy was so drunk, and I had to drive and get him cigarettes in a town 40 miles up the road, and then he goes and gets the cigarettes, has to drive all the way back, and brings them the smokes. And I'm going, but then I said, and when you made it, then he says, for the next 3 years, you just have a ball beating the crap out of the new guys, inventing new things to put them through.
Horrifying. This is what's wrong with humanity.
I didn't
It all
see the
comes down to fraternities.
No, it didn't where I went to school. The reason being the legal drinking age in Wisconsin when I was going to college was 18.
Yeah, me too when I started, and they
So
progressively
frats
moved it
didn't,
up.
for the Greek life didn't need to be. We could just go to the bars. We didn't need
Oh,
to
I
have a big
see.
house. You didn't need this place where you could go and congregate and drink beer and have sorority parties and
Well, it
frat
was all
parties.
about Rush. It was all about that
The band
recruiting
from
phase.
Canada?
Yeah, and they banned them since then, the frat parties, because people were just getting hurt and it was
Well,
ridiculous.
people die. Yeah, I read
Right.
these stories every couple of years where some kid has alcohol poisoning or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But there was the Fiji House would do this watermelon party once a year that I liked, and they would buy the watermelons and like just dial out a little core
yeah.
and fill it with vodka and put the stopper back in and keep it nice for 12 hours. And we just ate watermelon all night and got fall down stupid,
Yeah.
and that was a fun party. But for the most part, we just threw our own and went to the bars because it didn't make sense to us to need Greek
Oh, well,
life.
because it was free. That's why. The bars cost money, although $8 for a pitcher or something, that was the
Oh
expensive
gosh,
stuff.
dime
Normally it was
tap
like,
line.
yeah, normally it was like $2 pitchers. We had Zoo Night at one
What is
place.
that?
All you can drink $5. Everything. I'm sorry. Not everything. Long Island tea. That was their specialty, and that was the first place I ever had it. And then on Wednesdays they would just make batches of it, and it was
You
just,
could get you could drink Long Island tea for $5.
yeah, it was crazy.
That's
That was
asking
called
people to die.
That was called Zoo Night, and it didn't. I'm pretty sure they ended it before I left, but I remember many times. I remember one time
Wow.
walking back from there. It was a date. A first
Oh,
date,
you
I
went on
think.
a date. Nice call.
And my car got towed, which was probably a blessing, because you could walk, really. It was just a
Yeah.
long walk, which is what we did.
Yeah, because your car got towed.
Yeah. And you're just drunk and stupid, and
There was a campus not too far up the road, like 30 miles from my campus, maybe 20, 30 miles. I forget what the campus was called, but they had a bar there. On Thursday night, they did a triple cripple. That was their jam. Triple cripple. I thought initially that meant you get 3 drinks for the price of 1.
okay.
But no, you got 3 times the alcohol per drink.
Okay.
This, boys and girls, is a recipe for literally death on 2 levels. 1, consuming that much alcohol in a short period of time. And 2, most people drove there to go to this bar and then drove back.
Absolutely. That's the whole thing. You can't go to a Zoo Night and not know. And by the way, the police station right around the corner. So, you're an idiot if you don't walk there. But it's a long
I get
walk.
that. And I think they shut that down too, the triple cripple, because people, come on.
Right. No.
There was the guy who owned the Morrison Hotel, who was our landlord. He owned a bar called Gerolimo's on the street. And Thursday night in Eau Claire was dime tap night. So you go in with $1.
Yeah, and you got
and
10
you
beers.
get 10 beers. In the beginning, and a couple times, Lloyd and I, my roommate, we got to 10 bar on dime tap night. Okay, in the beginning, you're shuffling dimes back and forth, and toward the end, nobody pays for anything. It's just beer drinking for like 2 hours. There's people,
Oh my God. Yeah, that was so
It
everywhere.
fascinates
So it was so
Yes.
the norm back then,
it was
and now it just
pervasive.
seems,
It was prevalent. It just seems nuts.
oh well.
It was just, think of that. What you just said about, what was it, Zoom night? What was
Zoo Night.
Zoo?
Zoo.
Yeah, and it's $5 to drink as much Long Island iced teas as your body can hold before it vomits it back up or whatever.
And with those words, Rob Scott and Bob Doyle brought the Lounge Show to another inauspicious close. Join us next week, won't you? 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of The Lounge Show.
You've been watching The Lounge Show with Rob Scott and Bob Doyle. Join us every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and tell your friends and family to do the same. After all, we'd do it for you if you had a show. Probably.